you guys might remember a couple of weeks ago we had a segment on what Tesla does with the vehicles that have managed to get themselves a salvaged, or in other words, unclean title, and they're supercharging. And we had a lot of people going around with repaired or non-repaired cars that suddenly could no longer supercharge. Well, Rich Rebuilds, the guy who repaired the flooded Tesla with a butter knife, he found some people with Model 3s that have had salvage titles that have been repaired and got their titles restored that still supercharge. He said every single one he's checked on so far still supercharges. And his theory is that it's because Tesla's getting pay per charge on these vehicles. And yeah, and Mark and I were talking in between the shows. We were thinking that if you've paid the $6,000 and your car checks out clean on the Model S and the Model X, why not then turn on the pay-per-charge supercharger? Or, as Mark was saying, if it was even more fair, at $6,000, give them the free supercharging for life. But to make it on the even footing with the Model 3s, I would think that, yeah, it's checked out, it's clean, it passes all our tests, let it supercharge, but you're going to pay us a connection fee and this much per minute or per kilowatt hour. Mm-hmm. And it seems that they did that with the Model 3. And,
it seems the right thing to do.
Could it be that they only did it with the Model 3 because it's a newer vehicle?
And that was another one of his theories, is that maybe because these ones haven't started to have their... Because we've heard all these stories about the really old Model S's that have had their charge speed reduced because they to reduce the chance of them catching fire. And since these are all new batteries, because they're all 2017 at the oldest, and they're the newer tech because they already charge it at the 250 kilowatts, that perhaps these ones don't have that capping as they age, and so they're just more comfortable with this technology, and they're not going to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All about the money.
That was my primary. When he said that one, I was like, "Yep, there it is."
Yeah.
I mean, if they can charge you to charge, they're gonna...
Yeah. I totally understand. The thought that the older S and X batteries, especially the old original S batteries, may not be able to fully handle, the supercharging, and perhaps it's a rebuild.
But that would be the same if it's a clean title car or a rebuilt salvage title car. Exactly,
especially if it's a Jealous X situation where all it was damaged body panels like paint, and the insurance company said, "Oh, we're not going to pay $20,000 to respray the whole car." It's totaled. You come in and you don't care what it looks like, and it doesn't.
I think a fair thing that Tesla should do is say, "Look, if your car's been rebuilt from salvage, you can use the superchargers, assuming we test the car and make sure it's safe, but we're going to charge you." And I think that's a fair way to do it.
Yeah, that would be the best way. Yeah.
I mean, that's what happens if you wreck a Prius and get it rebuilt as a rebuilt from salvage title, your factory warranty has evaporated, but you can still drive the car. You can still buy parts for it.
You can use any gas station you want.
Dealers will still work on it. They just won't do warranty work on it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not restricted to which gas stations you can use.
But you lose some benefits once it's rebuilt from salvage. You can't get full insurance in many states.
Yeah.
But you can still use the car.
Yeah. But what hurt the most was the guys who'd already paid the $6,000. I think there were 2 or 3 that paid the $6,000. Tesla said, "You're good to go. Turn on the supercharging." And then last month gave them the big old middle finger and turned it off.
Yeah, well, they should get their money back.
Yeah, that's BS.
Yeah.
That's
Now, is there any way for the charger to I don't know all the words, but basically, can the charger evaluate the car and the battery and control its charging rate based on what it senses from the...
It does that for new cars. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what I'm thinking is one of the things they might be saying is, well, now the charger is smart enough to recognize whether or not the car can handle it, so we're going to go ahead and turn it on for it because we have another safety built in.
Right.
Yeah, but they've been that way from day one.
Yeah, and if they were tested, you think they would test for that? But the other thing that we haven't mentioned yet is that they also turned off the ability to DC fast charge at all.
Yes.
So So you cannot even use a fast charger with a CHAdeMO adapter. That's been turned off. You can only level 2 charge these cars going forward.
And if you turn it back on yourself, they will sue you into oblivion because the car will report it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man,
Unless you know the
I
right
can't.
people.
Unless you
What
know
if
the
you-
right
They
people.
will
buy
sue
a
you to
Tesla
oblivion.
with that.
What if you wrap the car in aluminum foil?
I'm sure if you pulled the modem
only do that
and
to
then
your
and then turned
brain.
it on and then only used third-party stations, that they probably wouldn't have any way to know. But what happens down the line when the car misses so many synchronizations with the mothership? How does it behave? And do you have a good car at that point?
I think that's like Empire Strikes Back when they say it's using a code, but it's an older code, and Darth Vader says, "Let him in."
Yeah, because there have been cars that Rich found that were shut down for 2-3 years. He turns them on, they update, and they continue on like nothing happened.
So it's like Independence Day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just get yourself a USB drive and plug it in. You're good to go.
Tony's been watching a lot of movies lately.
Yeah.
So to circle back, and speaking of old stuff, this brings us back to Right to Repair with Paul. I mean, outside of the people in Massachusetts, I mean, this is a big old middle finger to everyone. I mean, you own the metal, but you can't even plug it in wherever you want to plug it in, like even on systems that they don't control. What is up with this?
That's going to change, I think. With a little bit of consumer education, and not every consumer wants to fix their own car, but they want the option to take it to an independent repair shop. Because if your only option is to go to the dealer, you're going to get bent over every time.
Or look at the case of the Tesla Roadster. They don't really support that anymore. So you've got the 1 or 2 Tesla service centers that still know what to do with it, and you've got Gruber Motors, and then independents like you that actually want to touch it. And other than that, you've got a $150,000 paperweight if something happens, like you forget to plug it in for a month.
Or the Toyota/Tesla RAV4.
Oh, that one too.
That's a really big paperweight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that jumped out at me when I was reading this article, that basically they don't want you to use third-party chargers. And the whole concept of you bought it used, or it's a salvage vehicle, whatever, and you can't just charge it as much as it needs to be charged and go. There's this constant tether to Tesla. I think that there's going to be a class action lawsuit on that. It's one of those I can see far ahead, and class action lawsuit coming.
Yeah, and then the video before this one that Rich Rebuilds did was he went through his day in the life with the butter knife car, because that one did supercharge after he repaired it and it was good, and they turned it off. And so he was going through what you have to do when you can't use a third-party charger. You have to use level 2 everywhere, or even level 1 where you plug it into a 120.
Years.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We've been dealing with this issue for 2.5 decades or more. And in my world, it started out in the music business when you could buy a CD and then the RIAA said, well, you don't really own it. It's a license. You can't do whatever you want with it because we own the music. And people were like, what do you mean? I bought it. It's mine. I can do whatever I want with it. And they went, well, not so much that. And we're seeing that more and more, whether it's John Deere or Tesla or whoever it is, saying you bought this thing, but that doesn't mean you can do anything you want with it. Yeah. This is more than just a class action against Tesla. We have to define what the word buy is.
Buy, consumer protection, all that. Like I think what happened was John Deere saw RIA get away with it. And then Elon Musk saw John Deere get away with it. He said, I'm going to ramp this fucker up to 11.
This is literally Creative Cloud by Adobe, but in car form.
Yes.
Oh my God! Wow. Yeah.
But where that analogy falls down, though, if I understand you, Georgia, is that I used to spend $1,200 a year for the Creative Suite from Adobe. Now I spend $10 a month for Photoshop, and if I stop paying, whatever, it doesn't work. But the difference is huge.
And when you need it again, you pay $10 again.
Yeah, I go out and spend the tens of thousands of dollars for a Tesla. It damn well, I better be able to get it fixed, and it should do what I want it to do.
Yeah, and if you plug it in and it doesn't ground fault, let the freaking juice flow. I mean, and not just because this one is a Model 3 and that one's a Model S. They both, literally, if the Model S had a jealous ex, she poured acid on the paint, and the insurance company says no. There's nothing wrong with the car.
And this whole argument of the manufacturers, they're protecting the consumer for safety reasons, that's bullshit.
It is bullshit.
I mean,
Absolutely
people have been
bullshit.
tinkering on their cars forever, and if you're stupid enough to get under a car on a jack without jack stands and the car falls and kills you, well, you're an idiot, and if you work on an electric car without turning off the power, you're an idiot,
Speaking of idiots,
Go
ahead.
Let me just ask here, how many people are affected by Model S's?
A lot less than Model 3s.
And so how many years before the Model 3 population becomes affected?
Yeah.
Europe is ahead of Massachusetts in the right to repair movement, and it's only a matter of time before consumers get on it and change the rules here. I mean, if you guys go back 20 years ago, when cell phones started, you couldn't move your phone number to a different carrier. If you got a phone number from AT&T, you were stuck with AT&T forever. And finally, consumers said, this is stupid. If I want to go to Sprint or Verizon, I should be able to take my phone number with me.
Yeah. And
legislation was written to allow that to happen. So it's just awareness and consumer movement that's going to make it happen. I'm with Casey. It's probably about 3 years away.
Yeah.
Because there'll be enough used Model 3s out there that people are saying, well, I'm not taking it to the dealer. I want to take it to Paul. And
as they should.
Yeah. And then we did a segment just an hour ago on the Tesla Life where a bunch of dumbasses were putting their cars in dynamometer mode and crashing them.
What?
Yes, because it lets you spin the tires and it turns off the ABS and all that.
Oh, wow.
They were crashing the cars, and so Tesla
and they were
reached
concerned
in
that their warranty was voided. Well, if you do that to a Hellcat, your warranty is going to be voided.
Oh, it logs it in the computer the minute you put that red key in. Yeah. Warranty void. And so it kind of reaches into the same thing. But that one I kind of understand because it's safety and warranty. But the same concept. They reached in to something you've already bought and turned it way down without warning.